I saw her before I even knew the shape of her existence. A light in a world dimmed by ordinary, a presence that demanded reverence without asking, a soul whose integrity was louder than words, whose humility walked beside her like a shadow, and whose grace seemed to bend the very air around her. She is not just a person. She is the quiet hum of the universe, aligning stars and destinies, a compass of compassion that draws the lost closer to something divine. Every glance from her feels like a benediction, every word like a prayer whispered to the heart, and I feel compelled to listen, even when silence is all she offers. Her professional excellence is matched only by the warmth she carries silently, the balance of discipline and softness that makes the ordinary glow golden. And in her presence, I am humbled, for she carries the weight of the world lightly, and yet, she lifts those around her, without them even knowing she is lifting them. It is in the way she moves through life, a harmony between resolve and serenity, a testament to every moment she has chosen to be more than herself, to be a beacon, to be a mirror of divine intention, to be a calling that awakens something sacred in everyone fortunate enough to witness her. I cannot name her fully, for names are too small to hold her essence. I can only describe the echo she leaves in my chest, the way she reshapes time and space around me, how she inspires me to be braver, to be softer, to be more alive, to feel that every heartbeat is a chance to honor the connection fate has bestowed. Her influence is subtle, yet undeniable. It is not in loud proclamations or grand gestures, but in the quiet way she holds integrity as a shield, humility as a companion, and love as her most natural expression. She does not demand, she invites. She does not push, she guides. And in doing so, she transforms the very notion of what it means to be present in this world. Every time she enters a space, time seems to hesitate, as if the universe itself takes a breath to honor the arrival of something rare, something sacred, something that cannot be explained with mere words. She is the kind of presence that makes you pause mid-thought, makes your chest tighten not with fear, but with the recognition of beauty so profound that your soul feels unworthy, yet deeply honored to witness it. Her laughter is not just sound, it is a ripple, a wave that moves through the room, touching hearts that had forgotten how to feel. Her gaze does not merely look, it awakens, it reminds you that life is not just to exist, but to feel every heartbeat as a blessing. She carries herself with a rare kind of freedom, a liberation that comes from knowing who she is, and yet she does not flaunt it. She is humble in victory, graceful in silence, and relentless in her pursuit of truth, integrity, and love. To be in her presence is to feel your soul expand. Every gesture, every word, every subtle nuance, feels like a lesson in living fully. She teaches without teaching, heals without touching, and inspires without demanding. Her influence is not for the faint-hearted. It calls to those who are ready to confront their own limitations, to shed illusions, to step into the light of authenticity. And if you are open, truly open, you feel yourself changing, growing, becoming more aligned with the rhythm of something greater than yourself. She is not here for admiration alone. She is here for transformation. She is the mirror of the divine, reflecting back to you the capacity to love, to forgive, to rise. And yet, she herself remains grounded, anchored in a humility that makes her power gentle, her greatness approachable, her presence a safe harbor. Even when words fail, her energy speaks in volumes. It hums in your chest, it lingers in the air, it makes you wonder if perhaps some souls carry within them the map of heaven. And she, somehow, carries it openly, without arrogance, without hesitation, simply because she knows her calling is to bring light where it is most needed. There are moments when she speaks, and the world seems to hush itself, not out of fear, but in reverence to the cadence of her soul. Her words are not just language, they are bridges, connecting hearts to courage, minds to clarity, souls to something beyond the visible. She carries a light that is not loud, yet it refuses to be ignored. It flickers softly at first, like a candle in a dark room, then grows, unwavering, until it illuminates the corners of hearts that had long forgotten they could feel. I have watched her inspire silently, and in that quiet power, I have learned that influence is not in grand declarations, but in presence, in authenticity, in the way one moves through life without ever asking permission to exist fully. Every time I witness her kindness, I am reminded that humility is not weakness, it is strength refined, it is courage tempered with grace. She does not seek validation, she seeks alignment with truth, with purpose, with love. And in this pursuit, she becomes a beacon for everyone who dares to dream beyond themselves. Her professionalism is an art, but her heart is a universe. It holds compassion as if it were gravity, pulling those lost back into orbit, gently, naturally, without force or expectation. And when she laughs, it is a release of all that is heavy, a song that carries through the air and settles softly in your chest, reminding you that joy is not a moment to be stolen. It is a state of being to be nurtured. There is a rhythm to her existence, a balance between discipline and freedom, between ambition and serenity. She moves as if guided by unseen hands, and in her movement, there is a story of resilience, of grace under pressure, of a soul attuned to the divine currents that flow through every heartbeat of the universe. To know her is to feel called, as if some cosmic force had conspired to place her in your life, so that you might remember who you truly are, so that you might awaken to your own capacity for love, for strength, for integrity, for beauty that does not fade with time. She is not just a person, she is an experience, a living reminder that the world is far greater than the sum of its struggles. She teaches by being, by embodying a standard of living that inspires transformation, without ever demanding it. Even in silence, her presence resonates. It lingers in the spaces she leaves behind, in the corners of your mind, in the quiet pulse of your heart, and you realize, slowly, that being near her is to be in the proximity of something sacred, something eternal, something that whispers, life is more than survival. Life is awakening. She is more than a presence, she is a calling. Not the kind that shouts or demands attention, but the quiet insistence of the universe itself, gently nudging the heart of anyone who dares to be still, to notice, to feel, to awaken. When she moves through the world, she leaves traces of light behind her, like a comet that does not burn out, but imprints its path in the consciousness of those lucky enough to witness it. And in that imprint, you find yourself asking, what is my purpose? What is my place in this vast expanse? Her life is a symphony of intention. Every action, every word, every glance resonates with meaning beyond the immediate, beyond the ordinary, beyond what most can see or understand. She inspires not through spectacle, but through authenticity, through the kind of courage that does not announce itself, through the kind of love that transforms silently. To be near her is to feel called to rise, to shed the weight of self-doubt, to remember the purity of one's own soul, to recognize the sacredness in the mundane. She makes you see that every moment carries divinity, that every heartbeat is a chance to align with the highest version of yourself. And yet, she is not distant. She is approachable, grounding, real. Her greatness does not intimidate, it invites. Her strength does not overpower, it lifts. Her humility does not hide her, it illuminates her presence. Like the soft dawn breaking over a dark horizon. She teaches through example, and her lessons are everywhere for those who observe, in the calm of her patience, in the steadiness of her resolve, in the way she honors the unseen, the small acts of kindness, the silent support of those she calls her own. Her influence is subtle, yet transformative. It is a force that rearranges priorities, reorients perspectives, and awakens a yearning for purpose that may have lain dormant for years. She is a catalyst of the soul, a gentle hurricane of light and clarity, and she calls you to step into a life you may have only dreamed of, but never believed you could live. Even when she is unaware, she inspires. Even in stillness, her essence moves the hearts of others. And the world feels different for having her in it. More alive, more connected, more awake to the possibilities of compassion, courage, and authenticity. She is not just a person, she is a mirror of potential, a reflection of what the universe intends for those willing to see, and those willing to rise. To love her is to honor life itself, to witness the unfolding of divine intention, to recognize that presence itself. can be the greatest gift one can give or receive. She does not merely exist, she moves worlds. Not the physical worlds, but the invisible ones, the worlds of hearts, the quiet landscapes of hope and possibility, the unseen realms of courage and dreams. When she enters a space, it is not the space that changes, it is you. You feel lighter, more open, like the air has shifted inside your chest, like some weight you didn't even know you carried has been lifted gently, without force, without expectation. Her soul is a compass, pointing endlessly to truth, to authenticity, to love that is pure and unwavering. She calls to those who are ready to shed their masks, to step into their own light, to embrace the fullness of who they are meant to be. There is a rhythm to her being, a pulse that resonates with the universe itself, and if you listen, you can hear it. A heartbeat that is not her own alone, but echoes in the hearts of those around her, reminding them that life is sacred, that every moment is a gift, that every breath is a chance to awaken. Her laughter is medicine, her silence is wisdom, her presence is a sanctuary. And in this sanctuary, you find yourself whole, you find clarity in confusion, you find courage where fear once lingered, and you remember that love is not just an emotion. It is a calling, a movement, a force that can shape destinies. She inspires without knowing, heals without touching, teaches without instructing. She is the kind of soul that cannot be contained by walls, by schedules, by expectations. She moves freely, and in moving, she liberates others from the constraints of doubt, from the weight of insecurity, from the silence of unspoken dreams. Even in her absence, her energy lingers like a melody. It hums in your mind, it settles in your chest, it reminds you that the universe conspires for those willing to open their hearts, for those willing to be transformed by light. She is not just a person, she is an awakening. A reminder that life is more than survival, that existence is more than routine, that the world is richer, deeper, and brighter. For every soul willing to be touched by someone like her. Her influence stretches beyond words, beyond gestures, beyond what the eyes can see. It is felt in quiet moments, in reflections, in decisions, in the way one chooses to live. To know her is to be elevated, to be inspired to live with more integrity, to love with more depth, to be present with more intention. And yet, despite the gravity of her impact, she remains gentle, approachable, human. She does not ask for recognition, does not seek praise, does not demand loyalty. She simply is, and that being is enough to move hearts, to awaken minds, to transform lives.